Welcome. This video contains a brief discussion of the homework assignment for this particular week. You will find in your content area for this week a worksheet that looks like this document, as well as budget instructions. Let me just walk you through the general outline of what has to happen. The objective is using the information in this column, right, to project what will happen in the full year of the current year, and then use assumptions related to inflation and that are given in the instructions to build the budget for the next year. So we see in looking at this form that we're looking at a 7-month actual expense listing. So as an example, there were $475,000 of salary expense incurred in the first 7 months. But a year is 12 months. And so we go through a process called annualization. And essentially what we do is we take the amount, 475 in this case, and divide it by the time period that it was incurred. In this case, 7 months, right? So we take 475 divided by 7 equals $67,857 roughly. So we take the $67,857, multiply it by 12, right? Because once we divide this number by 7, what that effectively gives us is the amount of salary expense that was incurred in 1 month. But we want to know the amount that is incurred in an entire year, or that will be incurred in an entire year. And so in order to get that, we have to multiply the 1 month by 12. Okay, so we take the $67,857, multiply it by 12, and that gives us a number of approximately 800. Let me just see if I can put that in here. And with me just a second. Gives us 814,285. Okay, so that number goes in this cell here. Now, if we look at the instructions tell us that salaries and benefits, instructions tell us that salaries and benefits will increase in 2016 by 2.2%, right, with no adjustment for volume changes. So if you go back to our number, 814,285, we multiply that number, right? We multiply that number we increase it by 2.2%. And there are a couple of formula ways to do it, but essentially what it amounts to is we want to add 2% to that number. So we take the 814,285, multiply it times 1.022. That's the simplest way to do it. And that gives us a number of, let me write that there. Hold with me just 1 second. Gives us a number of 8, 3, 2, 1, 9, 9. 8, 3, 2, 1, 9, 9. Okay, so it actually should be up a little bit here, lined up with this number. They should be in the same row. And you'll see this is an Excel sheet in the content area, and so they will all line up. So that's the basic idea. You take this number, the basic idea is we're taking the numbers in this column, we're going to divide them by the number of months that are reflected in the expenses, and we're then going to multiply them by 12 in order to get the projection of the current year. And then we're going to look at the budget instructions, and for each item we're going to apply the changes that are described in the budget instructions to the number that we calculate for the current year projection. So it's the current year projection times the inflation factor from the instruction sheet gives you the next year's budget. All right. In a nutshell, that's what you're being asked to do in this assignment. If this is not clear for one reason or another, feel free to email me for further instructions, or feel free to join me during office hours, and I can provide some further guidance to you in completing the assignment. The only reminder is that you're being asked to utilize Excel formulas in completing this assignment, and that will be a critical part of the calculation of your grade on the final exam as well. So you need to be using Excel formulas, as I have expressed to you earlier in the course. That concludes the recording. Thank you very much.